I honestly never thought I'd be the guy posting in one of these relationship subs, but here we are. I've spent the last 3 weeks barely sleeping, replaying every conversation in my head like some idiot looking for clues that were obvious the entire time. Me, 34M, and my wife Emily, 32F, had been together for almost 9 years, married for 6. No kids. We always said we wanted them, eventually, but looking back, I think we both knew something was off long before either of us admitted it. At first, our relationship actually felt solid. She was loud, funny, brutally confident, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and instantly control it. That confidence was part of what attracted me to her in the beginning. She had this sharp attitude that made every conversation feel exciting. But over time, that sharpness turned into something else. Emily had this habit of lying about stupid things. Tiny things. Meaningless things. She'd say she was at Target when she was actually at a bar with coworkers. She'd claim she hadn't talked to her ex in years, then I'd randomly see his name pop up on her phone. Every time I confronted her, she had an answer ready immediately. "You're paranoid. You always overthink everything. Why are you acting crazy over nothing?" And somehow, every single argument ended with me apologizing. That's the part that messes with my head the most now. I genuinely started believing I was the problem. She was so aggressive, so convincing, that I'd walk into conversations completely certain I had evidence, then walk out feeling guilty for even asking. The first real crack happened around 8 months ago. She suddenly became obsessed with privacy. New phone password. Phone flipped face down constantly. Taking calls in another room. Sleeping with her Apple Watch on, which she never used to do. And the weirdest part? She got meaner. Like, aggressively mean over normal questions. One night I asked why she came home at 1 a.m. after happy hour with coworkers, and she immediately snapped. Maybe because being here feels like a second job. That sentence stayed in my head for weeks. I remember just sitting there on the couch after she went upstairs, staring at the TV without actually watching it. Something about the way she said it felt too honest. Like it slipped out accidentally. Then things started getting random. She'd suddenly become overly affectionate out of nowhere. Buying me gifts. Wanting sex constantly for like 3 days straight. Then immediately go cold again. One weekend she booked us a luxury hotel downtown completely out of nowhere. Expensive dinner, rooftop bar, matching robes, the whole thing. She kept posting photos of us on Instagram with captions like, "Forever favorite person red heart." Meanwhile, 2 days later she barely spoke to me. It felt like emotional whiplash constantly. I asked one of my friends about it and he literally said, "Dude, that sounds like guilt." I defended her immediately. Because that's what I always did. But then came the first moment where my stomach genuinely dropped. It was a Thursday night. Emily was in the shower, and her laptop was open on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping initially. I just wanted to order food because my phone was charging upstairs. Then a notification popped up. Not a message preview. Just a name. Jason Redheart. I froze. I knew Jason. Or at least I thought I did. He was supposedly just some guy from her office. She talked about him enough that I recognized the name immediately. What made my chest tighten wasn't even the heart emoji. It was the fact she once laughed at me for asking if they were close. God, no. He's annoying. That was her exact wording. Annoying. But apparently annoying enough to get a heart next to his name. I wish I could say I handled this calmly. I didn't. My hands literally started shaking while I stared at the screen. I remember hearing the shower running upstairs and feeling like my entire body had gone numb. Then another notification appeared. And that one changed everything. The second notification only stayed on the screen for maybe 3 seconds, but it was enough. Last night was worth the risk. That was it. No context. No explanation. Just that sentence sitting there like a grenade. I swear my brain stopped functioning for a second. My chest got tight so fast I actually thought I was about to throw up. I kept rereading it over and over like maybe I misunderstood something. Because your mind does this stupid thing when someone you love betrays you. It tries to protect you from the truth. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe risk meant work drama or something. But deep down I already knew. I knew before I even touched the laptop. The shower upstairs turned off, and panic hit me instantly. Pure instinct. I grabbed the computer and opened the messages. And yeah, I found exactly what you think I found. Months of flirting. Photos. Inside jokes. Complaints about me. That part hurt more than I expected. Seeing your own marriage summarized as an inconvenience to another guy is a different kind of pain. She called me emotionally exhausting. Said I was too sensitive lately. Told him she felt trapped. Meanwhile, 2 weeks earlier, she was literally crying in my arms talking about how lucky she was to have me. The timeline started connecting in my head immediately. The random fights. The sudden affection. The emotional distance. The weird hotel weekend. It all made sense so fast that it almost made me dizzy. Then I found the messages from the previous night. That was the first time I physically shook from anger in my entire adult life. She told me she had a late strategy meeting at work. I even ordered food for her and waited up like an idiot until midnight because she said she hadn't eaten. Meanwhile she was texting him this. I can still smell you on me. I don't think I'll ever forget reading that sentence. People talk about cheating like it's just sadness, but honestly, the first emotion I felt was humiliation. I felt stupid. Like genuinely stupid. I started mentally replaying every moment from the past year looking for signs everybody else probably saw before me. Then I found something worse. A message from him asking, "What about your husband?" And her response was, "He believes whatever I tell him." Man. That one destroyed me. Not the sex. Not even the lying. It was knowing she looked at me like I was weak. Easy to manipulate. Some clueless idiot she could control whenever she wanted. I heard footsteps upstairs and barely managed to put the laptop back exactly where it was before she walked into the kitchen wearing one of my old t-shirts. And the crazy thing? She smiled at me. Like nothing happened. "Did you order food?" she asked casually. I just stared at her. I remember thinking how terrifying it was that someone could lie this naturally. No guilt. No hesitation. Nothing. She noticed something was off immediately. "What?" she said. I asked the dumbest possible question first. "Who's Jason?" Not, "Are you cheating?" Not, "What the hell is going on?" Just, "Who's Jason?" And instantly her whole face changed for half a second. People who lie a lot have tells. Tiny ones. Emily's tell was anger. The second she felt cornered, she attacked. "Oh my God, are we seriously doing this again?" Again. Like I was irrational for asking about the man with a heart emoji next to his name. I tried staying calm. I really did. I saw the notifications. And there it was. That tiny pause. That calculation behind her eyes. She recovered fast though. "Congratulations," she snapped. "You invaded my privacy." No denial. That's what hit me immediately. No denial whatsoever. I asked her directly if she was sleeping with him. She laughed. Actually laughed. Then she said, You really think I'd cheat on you with someone from work? Use your brain. And for one pathetic second, I almost believed her again. That's how messed up this relationship had become. Even standing there with evidence in my face, my brain was still trained to doubt itself. Then her phone buzzed on the counter between us. Jason Red Heart. We both looked at it. Silence. And that was the exact moment everything in my marriage shattered permanently. The silence after that notification felt unreal. Like one of those moments where your entire life splits into a before and after, and you know it instantly. Emily grabbed the phone so fast it almost fell off the counter. I remember her trying to act annoyed instead of guilty. You're being insane right now. Insane. Meanwhile, her side guy was literally texting her in front of me. I asked to see the phone. She refused immediately. No. That single word told me everything. If there was truly nothing there, she would have shoved the phone in my face just to make me feel stupid. That's what she normally did during arguments. She loved proving me wrong. But this time she clutched the phone against her chest like I was trying to steal state secrets. I said, "If there's nothing going on, let me see it." And she exploded. Started yelling about privacy, trust, toxic behavior, insecurity, every buzzword imaginable. It was honestly impressive how fast she flipped herself into the victim. At one point she literally said, "This is emotional abuse." I almost laughed from disbelief. Because 5 minutes earlier I'd been reading messages about her sleeping with another man. I asked her again, "Did you sleep with him?" And finally she answered. Not with guilt. Not with honesty. With attitude. Maybe I wouldn't have needed attention from someone else if you weren't emotionally unavailable all the time. That sentence hit harder than I expected. Not because it was true. Honestly, I bent over backwards for her for years. I cooked, cleaned, supported her career, listened to every problem she had, defended her constantly. But when someone you love blames you for their betrayal, part of you automatically starts questioning yourself anyway. That's the toxic part. She saw it happening too. I could literally watch her realize she was regaining control of the conversation. So she kept going. "You've been miserable to live with. You make me feel trapped. You stopped trying a long time ago." It turned into a full character assassination. And I stood there absorbing it because I was still desperately hoping the affair somehow wasn't real. Then I asked the question I shouldn't have asked. "How long?" She looked away. That pause was all I needed. "How long, Emily?" And finally she muttered. 4 months. 4 months. 4 entire months of lies. 4 months of kissing me goodbye in the mornings after talking to him all night. 4 months of fake work meetings. Fake girls' nights. Fake overtime. Fake smiles. Suddenly dozens of random memories started clicking together so fast it made my head hurt. The weekend she visited her sister. The random lingerie she bought. The sudden gym obsession. The unexplained hotel charge she blamed on a work conference issue. I felt physically sick. Then she said something that somehow made everything even worse. It wasn't supposed to get serious. Like that was supposed to comfort me. Apparently the affair started after some office party. She got drunk, complained about our marriage, Jason listened, and suddenly he understood her better than anyone. Classic. I asked if she loved him. And she hesitated. That hesitation honestly hurt more than if she just screamed yes. Because it meant she was actually considering it. I walked into the living room because I genuinely couldn't breathe in that kitchen anymore. My whole body felt numb and overheated at the same time. She followed me immediately, still defensive instead of remorseful. "You're acting like I murdered someone." That line nearly broke something inside me. No apology. No tears. Nothing. Just irritation that her lies finally collapsed. Then came the part one still replay in my head constantly. She sat down across from me and suddenly changed tone completely. Like flipping a switch. Soft voice. Fake sadness. Tears appearing almost instantly. I didn't mean for this to happen. And I swear to God, if you've never dealt with someone manipulated before, it's hard to explain how confusing this feels in real time. 1 second she was attacking me. The next she was fragile and heartbroken. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. That's when she started crying for real. Or at least I think it was real. Honestly, I don't know anymore. She kept saying, "I still love you. I don't want to lose you. It was a mistake." A mistake. 4 months isn't a mistake. That's a parallel relationship. Then she dropped another bomb. Jason's wife knew nothing about the affair. Yep. The guy was married too. 2 kids. At that point I actually laughed. Not because anything was funny, but because my brain couldn't process how cliché and disastrous this entire situation had become. And somehow, the night still wasn't done getting worse. After she admitted everything, I should have left the house immediately. That's what normal people probably do. Instead, I sat there in complete shock while Emily cried on the couch like she was the one who'd been betrayed. My brain felt disconnected from my body. I couldn't think clearly enough to even grab my keys. Then her phone rang. Jason. Again. She stared at the screen. I stared at her. And she declined the call. Not because she suddenly respected me. Not because she felt guilty. Because she got caught. That realization hurt almost as much as the cheating itself. If I hadn't seen those messages, she would have answered him normally. She probably would have gone to work the next morning, kissed me goodbye, and continued the affair like nothing happened. That thought genuinely made my skin crawl. Then her phone rang again. This time she muted it. I asked quietly, "Does he know I found out?" She shook her head. And before I could even respond, another notification appeared on her screen. "Miss you already." I saw it. She saw me see it. And suddenly she panicked. Not emotional panic. Strategic panic. She started typing fast, probably warning him. I reached for the phone instinctively, and she jerked it away from me so hard she almost fell sideways on the couch. That's when I finally snapped. I yelled for the first time in our entire marriage. Not screaming exactly, but loud enough that she froze. Stop protecting him. The room went dead silent. I remember my chest hurting from how hard my heart was pounding. I'd never seen myself that angry before. Not even close. And instead of apologizing, she got mad at me again. "You're scaring me right now." That line was unbelievable. She cheated for months, lied to my face daily, manipulated me constantly, and somehow within 2 hours she'd already repositioned herself as the victim. I walked upstairs because I physically couldn't look at her anymore. She followed me immediately. That's another thing people don't talk about enough after betrayal. The cheating partner suddenly becomes terrified of losing control over the situation. She kept talking non-stop while I threw random clothes into a duffel bag. "Please don't leave. We can fix this. You're overreacting. It didn't mean anything. I love you." The contradictions were insane. At one point she literally said, "It was mostly emotional. Mostly. Mostly." As if that somehow improved things. I asked if they'd been in our house together. Silence. That silence answered everything. I felt my stomach drop so hard I had to sit down on the edge of the bed. She tried denying it at first. Then minimizing it. Then blaming me again. You were always working. You stopped paying attention to me. You made me lonely. I remember looking around our bedroom while she talked and suddenly realizing how many memories in that room were probably fake now. Vacations. Birthdays. Anniversaries. Lazy Sunday mornings. All contaminated. Then came the moment that completely destroyed whatever trust one had left. I asked, "Is there anything else you haven't told me?" And she immediately answered, "No. Too fast. Way too fast." So I asked, "Then why do I feel like you're still lying?" And her face changed instantly. That tiny expression again. The calculation. I swear my entire body went cold. "What else, Emily?" She sat down slowly on the chair near the window and covered her face. Then she said, "I was going to end it." Past tense. Not, I ended it. Not, I want to end it. Was going to. Meaning she still hadn't. I asked her if they were still seeing each other currently. Another pause. Then. Yes. I don't even know how to explain what that felt like. Until then, some delusional part of me still imagined maybe the affair had already ended and I was discovering old damage. But no. While she was crying in front of me. While she was begging me not to leave. She was actively still involved with him. Current. Ongoing. Present tense. I suddenly noticed how exhausted she looked. Not guilty. Exhausted. Like someone struggling to maintain two separate lives at once. Then she said something that made the entire situation even uglier. He said he was leaving his wife. Of course he did. Every cheating story on earth apparently follows the exact same script. I asked if she believed him. And Emily, this woman who lied about everything constantly, actually looked embarrassed for the first time all night. Which meant yes. She did believe him. That's when another realization hit me. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was emotionally invested enough to potentially destroy 2 marriages over a fantasy. And somehow, I still wasn't prepared for what happened the next morning. I barely slept that night. Honestly, barely slept is generous. I spent most of the night sitting in my car outside a 24-hour grocery store parking lot because I couldn't stand being inside the house anymore. I kept replaying every detail in my head like some kind of punishment. Every time she called me paranoid. Every fake work meeting. Every girls' night. Every time she kissed me after being with him. Around 4 a.m., she started blowing up my phone. First sad messages. "Please come home. We need to talk. I'm scared. I love you." Then angry messages when I stopped responding. "You're acting immature. So you're just abandoning your marriage? Wow. Guess I know how much I meant to you." That one actually made me laugh out loud in the car like a complete psychopath. Because apparently cheating for 4 months wasn't abandoning the marriage. But me leaving for one night was. I eventually drove back home around 7 in the morning because I needed clothes for work. I honestly hoped she'd already left for the office. Nope. She was sitting at the kitchen table waiting for me. Still wearing the same clothes from the night before. Mascara smeared. Coffee untouched. Phone in her hand. And the second I walked in, I knew something else had happened. You ever get that feeling where the atmosphere in a room changes before anybody speaks? Like your body senses danger before your brain catches up? That. Emily stood up immediately. "We need to talk." Those words make me sick now. I asked if she told him I found out. And she said yes. Then came the next bombshell. Jason's wife had apparently seen messages too. Yeah. While my entire marriage was exploding, theirs was too. Apparently Emily warned him after I confronted her, which caused him to panic and start deleting messages. His wife noticed him acting weird, grabbed his phone, and found enough evidence to figure out something was going on. So now 4 lives were collapsing simultaneously because 2 selfish people couldn't control themselves. And somehow Emily still found a way to make herself the victim. She's threatening to contact HR, she said nervously. Not. I destroyed 2 families. Not. I hurt you. No. She was worried about work consequences. That's when I started realizing something deeply disturbing about her. Emily cared more about fallout than morality. As long as the lies stayed hidden, she was fine. But consequences? Consequences terrified her. I asked if she loved him again. She hesitated again. That hesitation was becoming its own answer. Then she finally admitted. I don't know. I think that hurt more than hearing yes. Because it meant she genuinely believed there was a choice to make. Me or him. 9 years together reduced to some emotional competition with a guy from her office. I asked her if she would have ever confessed on her own. She looked down immediately. And there it was. The truth. She wouldn't have. Ever. I had to discover it accidentally. That realization completely killed something inside me. Not just trust. Respect. Then she suddenly switched personalities again. Crying harder. Voice shaking. Begging me not to leave. She kept saying, I'll quit my job. I'll block him. I'll do therapy. I'll do anything. Anything except tell the truth before getting caught, apparently. I asked to see her phone fully this time. She reluctantly handed it over. And honestly, I almost wish I hadn't looked. There were hundreds of messages. Some sexual. Some emotional. Some just casually cruel. But one conversation completely wrecked me. Jason asked her, "What if your husband finds out?" And she replied, "He won't. He still thinks I'm a good person." Man. I can't explain what reading that felt like. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was humiliation layered on top of betrayal. The person I trusted most in the world secretly viewed me as naive and easy to manipulate. Then I found photos. Not explicit ones. Worse. Normal couple photos. Selfies in restaurants. Her sitting in his car smiling. A picture of them holding drinks together at some rooftop bar she once told me she went to with coworkers. That's the thing nobody warns you about with cheating. The small normal moments hurt more than the sex sometimes. Because you realize they built an entire emotional world without you in it. Then I noticed one date on a photo. My birthday. While I was at home waiting for her to come back from a late client dinner, she was drinking cocktails with him and sending me fake apology texts about work. I physically couldn't look at the screen anymore after that. I handed the phone back and just stared at the wall. And then Emily said the one sentence that pushed me closer to leaving than anything else so far. "You weren't supposed to find out like this."